Here's something that will completely change how you think about attraction. Curious, women are not primarily drawn to looks, not to money, not even to status, though all of those things can play a role. What women naturally respond to, often without even realizing it, is a man's energy. You've seen this before without being able to name it. A man walks into a room and something shifts. He's not necessarily the tallest or the most conventionally handsome, but people become aware of him. Women lean in when he speaks. They laugh more easily around him. They find reasons to stay in the conversation. Meanwhile, another man who looks better on paper, better dressed, objectively more attractive, barely registers. Why? Exhales sharply. Because attraction has far less to do with what a man has, and everything to do with how he carries himself. Most men were taught completely the wrong things about attraction. They were taught to impress, to prove, to perform. But here's the truth nobody says out loud. Attraction is not something you chase, it's something you project. I'm Lira. Welcome to Mystique Psychology. Today, we're going deep into the specific qualities that create the kind of energy women naturally move toward, and how you can start embodying them starting right now. Subscribe CTA Neuro 1055. Before we get into it, subscribe to Mystique Psychology right now. Every week on this channel, we break down the real psychology behind attraction, confidence, and human behavior. No surface level advice, no tricks, just truth that actually changes things. Hit that button and let's begin. The foundation, 110 to 45. Before we get to the specific qualities, I want you to understand something that makes everything else make sense. The energy a man carries is not about what he says. It's not about his opening line, his outfit, or his achievements. It shows up in the small things. The way he speaks, unhurried, deliberate, without nervousness filling the gaps. The way he listens, actually present, not already planning his next sentence. The way he reacts when something doesn't go his way, steady, unbothered, grounded. The way he exists in a room, comfortable in his own skin, without needing the room to confirm it. This energy cannot be faked for long. People feel it almost immediately, and women, who tend to be extraordinarily attuned to emotional signals, feel it faster than almost anyone. The good news is this energy is not a personality type you're born with, it's a set of qualities that can be developed. Let's go through them one by one. Quality 1, stop trying to impress. 245-6. The first and most important quality, and the one that immediately separates men who attract from men who repel, is this: he is not trying to impress anyone. I know that sounds counterintuitive. If you want someone to like you, shouldn't you show them your best qualities? Shouldn't you put effort in? Here's what most men miss. There's a massive difference between being impressive and trying to seem impressive. And women feel that difference instantly. When a man is constantly trying to prove himself, talking about his achievements, his salary, his travels, his connections, there's a hidden signal underneath all of it. I need your approval to feel valuable. And people pick up on that energy before their conscious mind has even processed it. The man who tries to impress creates pressure. The interaction starts to feel like a performance. She feels like an audience, not a person. But the man who simply shows up, present, relaxed, genuinely curious about the person in front of him, creates something completely different. The conversation feels real, natural, easy. There's no agenda underneath it. Think about two men at a social gathering. The first spends the entire evening steering every topic back to himself, his car, his job, his lifestyle. The second listens, asks real questions, shares things about himself when they naturally fit, without inflating them, laughs easily without needing to be the funniest person in the room. By the end of the evening, people are gravitating toward the second man. Not because he tried harder, because he didn't need to. That's the energy. Quiet, unforced self-possession. a man who knows his value without needing to announce it. Confidence is not about proving your worth. It's about being so comfortable with who you are that proving it becomes irrelevant. Quality 2. Attention is not attraction. 6. Siak 9. Here's one of the most common misconceptions men carry into every interaction, and it costs them constantly. Attention is not attraction. Just because a woman enjoys your company, laughs with you, responds to your messages, and seems to like having you around, that does not mean she is attracted to you in a romantic sense. People enjoy attention. They enjoy being heard, appreciated, and made to feel interesting. Women are no different. They can genuinely enjoy spending time with a man without feeling romantic pull toward him. This is where so many men go wrong. They believe that if they give enough attention, enough messages, enough availability, enough consistent presence, attraction will eventually appear, like it's a reward for accumulating enough points. But that's not how attraction works. In fact, too much attention too quickly tends to do the opposite. It removes mystery. It signals overinvestment before genuine connection has formed. And it communicates something that quietly kills attraction. This man has organized his emotional world around me, and I barely know him. The men who understand attraction behave differently. They engage genuinely, but they don't abandon their own life in pursuit of someone else's attention. They have their own routines, their own goals, their own things that matter to them. And because of that, their attention feels like something chosen, not something automatically given to anyone who shows mild interest. The difference in how that feels is enormous. One man texts first thing every morning, checks in throughout the day, and responds within seconds at all hours. Another man is present and engaged when they talk, but he also has a life. His attention isn't rationed as a tactic. It's just genuinely selective because he has things he's building. Which of those two men feels like someone worth being chosen by? Attention is easy to give. Attraction has to be built, and it builds in space, not in constant availability. Quality 3. Calm confidence. 9 good 12 sao. Here's what most men get wrong about confidence. They think it looks loud, dominant, like the man who commands every room, speaks the most, and makes sure he's noticed. But the kind of confidence that actually creates sustained attraction is almost always quiet. It's called calm confidence, and it's one of the rarest energies in any social environment. Calm confidence is the ability to be completely comfortable with yourself without needing to prove it to everyone around you. It doesn't perform. It doesn't compete. It doesn't fight for status or rush to fill silence or become visibly rattled when things don't go as expected. It simply stays. When a conversation goes quiet, he doesn't panic. When someone challenges his opinion, he doesn't immediately fold or become defensive. When a joke doesn't land, he doesn't spiral. He stays in the moment, steady and present, and the interaction feels safe because of it. That steadiness communicates something deeply compelling to women. This man is not controlled by his environment. His confidence isn't contingent on everything going perfectly. It exists regardless. Think about how rare that is. Most people in social situations are monitoring every reaction, adjusting every word, managing how they're perceived with exhausting precision. There's a constant undercurrent of anxiety. Am I interesting enough? Funny enough, saying the right thing? The man with calm confidence doesn't carry that anxiety. He's comfortable with uncertainty. He's comfortable with silence. He moves at his own pace rather than rushing to keep up with whatever the social moment seems to demand. And women, who are deeply sensitive to emotional energy, feel the difference between a man who is genuinely grounded and a man who is performing groundedness. You cannot fake this for long, but you can build it. Through practice, through self-awareness, through choosing again and again to pause before reacting rather than being swept along by whatever happens around you. Calm confidence is grounded, it's warm, it's present, and in a world full of anxiety and noise, it stands out more than any loud performance ever could. Subscribe CTA NER 2 12 Acts Quick Pause. If this is landing for you, subscribe to Mystique Psychology right now. Every week we go this deep into the real psychology of attraction. Hit that button and let's keep going because the next qualities are the ones most men never develop. Quality 4. Eliminate neediness. 12.15.15.30. This is the hardest truth in this entire video, and the one that will do the most good if you actually absorb it. Neediness quietly destroys attraction every single time, and the difficult part is that most men don't recognize when they're being needy, because in their own experience, they believe they're just being caring, attentive, showing interest. But here's what's actually happening beneath those behaviors. When a man's emotional state starts hinging on how a woman responds to him, when her quick reply makes him feel great and her silence makes him anxious, he has handed over his internal stability to someone else. His confidence is now dependent on her behavior. His mood rises and falls based on her reactions, and that energy, that quiet underlying dependency, is felt immediately. It shows up in over-texting, in apologizing for things that didn't need an apology, in constantly trying to say exactly the right thing, in checking his phone compulsively after sending a message, in reshaping his opinions and behavior to match what he thinks she wants. All of it sends one signal, louder than any of the words, "Please like me," and that signal is rarely attractive. The antidote is not indifference. It's not coldness or manufactured detachment. The antidote is a full life. When a man is genuinely engaged in building something, developing his career, improving his health, pursuing goals that matter to him, investing in friendships and experiences, he does not approach any one woman from a place of emotional hunger. He approaches her as someone who already has something going on, someone who is complete, rather than searching for completion. That shift in foundation changes everything. He is interested, but not desperate. He is engaged, but not dependent. He can walk away from interactions that don't feel right without it destabilizing him, because his sense of self does not live in her reactions. Build that foundation, not as a strategy, because you deserve a life that is genuinely full, regardless of who is or isn't in it. Quality 5. Purpose over appearance. 15:30:18:30. Most men worry about the wrong things. They obsess over their height, their face, their clothes, their physique. And while appearance matters at the surface level, in that first glance impression, it is rarely what sustains attraction over time. What sustains it is purpose. Purpose simply means having direction. It means you are working toward something that matters to you. It doesn't have to be grand or impressive. It just has to be real. A career you're building, a skill you're developing, a project you're committed to, a health goal you're actually pursuing. Anything that gives your days forward momentum. A man with purpose moves through life differently. He has things to do and places to be that have nothing to do with seeking anyone's attention. His mind is engaged with progress. His time is genuinely valuable because he's doing something with it. And that shows up in everything. The way he speaks, the way he carries himself, the decisions he makes. There's a kind of energy in a man who is actively building something, and it is completely unlike the energy of a man who is simply drifting, waiting for external validation to give his life shape. Here's the thing about looks. They create instant curiosity, but purpose creates sustained interest. A man who is genuinely going somewhere becomes more compelling over time, not less. His conversations have depth. His perspective has weight. His presence has the feeling of someone who has a life worth sharing, not a life built around someone else's approval. Stop worrying about how you look in any given moment. Start focusing on who you're becoming over time, because direction is magnetic, and a man moving purposefully forward is genuinely hard to look away from. Quality 6, emotional control, 18, 30, 21. Of all the qualities we've covered today, this one may be the most underestimated. Emotional control, not emotional suppression, not pretending to feel nothing, but the ability to manage your emotional responses rather than being managed by them. Most men have experienced the impulse. Something happens and the immediate reaction rises fast. Someone says something that stings. A woman behaves in a way that feels dismissive. A situation doesn't go the way you expected, and the reactive response, frustration, defensiveness, anxiety, the need to immediately fix or explain, is right there, ready to come out. The men who give in to that impulse consistently find that their emotional reactivity undermines them. It signals fragility. It tells the people around them that their internal state can be easily disturbed by external events, and that fragility, even when it comes from a genuinely sensitive and caring place, pushes attraction away. Emotional control creates the opposite impression. When a man stays steady in situations that would destabilize most people, when he pauses before responding, chooses his reactions rather than being ambushed by them, stays grounded when the social weather shifts, he communicates something rare and powerful. You cannot easily move me, not because he doesn't feel things, but because his feelings don't govern his behavior in every moment. He is the one driving. This also means not taking everything personally. When someone seems distant or distracted, it doesn't automatically mean something is wrong with you. Life is complex. People have their own internal weather that has nothing to do with you. The emotionally controlled man understands this and doesn't construct stories about himself based on every fluctuation in someone else's mood. His emotional baseline stays level. His confidence doesn't require constant maintenance. And that steady, regulated presence is one of the most compelling things a man can offer, because it makes people around him feel safe. Quality 7. The power of being willing to walk away. 21, How, 23, 30. The final quality, and the one that ties everything together. Real power belongs to the man who is willing to walk away, not the man who threatens to leave as a manipulation tactic, not the man who is cold or indifferent, but the man who genuinely, in his own bones, knows that his life has value, and he is not willing to stay in situations that repeatedly diminish that value. Most men have fallen into the opposite pattern at some point. They lower their standards to keep someone interested. They tolerate behavior that clearly doesn't sit right with them. They stay quiet about things that bother them because they're afraid that honesty will cost them the relationship. Over time, they slowly abandon themselves, piece by piece, in the hope that accommodation will create love. It never does. When a man shows that he will accept almost anything to avoid losing someone, his value in that dynamic drops, not because the woman is calculating or cruel, but because human psychology responds to self-respect. We naturally think more highly of people who think highly of themselves. The man who is genuinely willing to walk away operates differently. He engages fully, warmly, generously, but from a foundation of self-respect that doesn't flex. He's not afraid to say what he actually thinks. He's not constantly managing her feelings at the expense of his own. He brings himself fully, honestly, to the interaction, and he trusts that if it's right, it will hold. That energy, that authentic self-possession, is the opposite of desperation. And attraction almost always lives closer to the opposite of desperation. You do not chase, you choose, and you remain equally willing to be chosen or to walk forward alone. Closing, 23, 30, 25. Let me bring everything together. The energy that women naturally move toward is not loud, it's not flashy, it's not aggressive or dominant or manufactured. It is grounded, it is purposeful, it is emotionally stable, it is genuinely self-possessed without needing anyone to confirm it. A man who has stopped trying to impress, who gives attention selectively because his time is genuinely valuable, who stays calm in the moments that shake most people, who has a life with enough substance that he approaches women from abundance rather than hunger, who can walk away when something isn't right for him without it destroying his world. That man doesn't chase attraction. Attraction finds him, not because he's doing everything perfectly, but because the energy he carries is rare, and rare things draw people in without effort. You don't have to be someone else to have this energy. You have to become more fully yourself by removing the performance, the desperation, the approval seeking that was layered on top of who you actually are. When you do that, when you show up as the real, grounded, purposeful version of yourself, the right people will notice without you having to announce it. I'm Lira. This is Mystique Psychology. Drop a comment. Tell me which quality resonated most, or share an experience where energy changed everything in an interaction. I read every comment. I'll see you in the next one.